Get off the sidelines and take control of your financial future at www.tackletrading.com. Get in the game.
Matt Justice here for Tackle Trading. A little bit of an update today on the volatility strategy on the straddle and the strangle. I wanted to do an update video because there's been a lot of questions about especially GMCR right here. We put a trade on GMCR about 1 month ago, and I did a video out there that said, you know what, if we see an increase in volatility, it's highly probable we're going to see an increase in volatility, and we're going to make money based on volatility. And we did certainly see that increase in volatility, although we didn't see it to the level that we did in previous times. Previous times we came all the way up to about 0.58, 0.60. This one only came into about 0.54, and so when we placed the trade it was about 3.5, so it only went up about 20 percentage points up there. And so we did get an increase in volatility, not to the level we expected, so we were hurt based on that. Now, anybody who made that trade, including myself, were showing a loss on the trade. Because why? Because we've got the increase in volatility, but what has happened to really kind of the price of the stock? Over the course since really kind of the last 6 weeks, the price of the stock's just kind of been going sideways. It's been going a little bit of up, a little bit of down. The call side has been losing money tremendously. The put side has gained a little bit of money, not a lot of money, just a little bit of money. And so because the stock has been going sideways, we really haven't made any money on the position because we're losing based on theta. Theta has lost more than Vega has gained, and we haven't made any money based on direction. And that's why we're showing a loss on the trade. So once again, let me kind of recap that. We've gained money on Vega. Okay, not as much as we hoped, but we have gained money on Vega. We've lost money on Theta, which has offset the Vega gain, and Delta has not aided us in any capacity because it's basically been going sideways. So the call option's lost a lot of money. The put option has gained a little bit of money, and that's why we're showing a loss on the trade. Now, the question becomes this. Do we hold through earnings? That's the question. Okay, sometimes I will. Sometimes I won't. If I got a 10, 20, 30% ROI on the trade coming into earnings, I will not hold through earnings. Okay, not unless the evidence is very, very clear that I should. But if I'm showing a break even, a little bit of loss, I'm looking at the strategy and I'm saying, you know what? What's the harm here? Okay, what's the harm? What is the risk in holding through earnings? The risk is we're going to give up the volatility that we gained. That's the risk. And so we can lose more money because we'll give up the volatility that we have gained. The question is on the earnings, is Delta going to offset Vega? And that's the biggest question. So let's look at GMCR here. Okay, first of all, GMCR this week, not this week, but next week is going to have earnings. All right. The projection of how far this will move is about, I would say, about $7. Okay, I'd say about $7. They'll come out with a market maker move coming out next week, right before the earnings. They'll kind of, and it'll show you right here. There'll be a yellow icon right there that says MMM. That's the expectation of the market maker move. If you don't have that, you can simply take the at the money straddle, which is $5 here and $5 there. It's about $10 minus the theta over the next week and a half. About $6.50 to $7 is what it would be, because they're pricing in the expected move in that expiration date that includes the earnings report. And so we're going to say it's going to move right around $6 to $7. So the question once again becomes, can this GMCR, if it is likely to move further than $6 on the earnings announcement, then we can hold through earnings because the Delta will offset the Vega crush. So let's look at the last couple earnings here. Here's your last earnings right there. The market closed at $121. The very next day, it opened all the way down to $110, so about $11 movement. Now, it immediately came back up in price, so if you're going to hold through earnings, that means you have to sit there in front of the computer when the market opens so that you can manage this trade. So the first one went $11. The next one here went from 154 down to 150, so about $4. So the first one moves 11, the second one moves $4, and then that one kind of just drove all the way down to $141. So if you look at the entire movement, about $13 on the title movement, but you have to take just the gap range here. The next one here really didn't do much at all. No real gap movement at all. It was about a $2 gap movement on that one. And then on this one here, it went from $92 up to about $98, so about a $6 movement on that. So if you take the last four earnings reports, you had a gap of 11, 4, 2, and 6. That's 15, 17, and 21. So 21 total points over four movements. It gaps about $5. Okay, so if the market maker move is $6 to $7 and the expected gap is only $5, it's really questionable. It's really questionable whether or not you can hold this through earnings. Now, for me, I am going to hold this trade through earnings because GMCR has a tendency after earnings to really kind of move, which allows you a lot of opportunity to manage that trade in terms of, for example, on this one, it gaps down, you pull off the put option right when it starts coming back up, and all of a sudden you have a call side that's gaining in price. On this one, it gaps down, and it just screams down. You can manage that trade. And so in taking into account both the gap range as well as the movement after the gap range, you can give a lot of options in terms of your management of the trade. You can turn it into a profitable trade. So I will hold this trade through earnings because I expect it to gap more than about at the market maker, but at the same time it allows me to manage that trade, turning a loss into a gain. Matt Justice for Tackle Trading. Hope you enjoyed the video. Check us out over there at www.tackletrading.com.